everyone, I am Pearl Nana Isi Otuwa Utu, a level 200 student at the University of Education, Winneba, from the Department of History Education. Our topic to be discussed today is Women's Political Power in Pre-Colonial Africa, a case study of female leaders. Pre-colonial Africa was home to a variety of political systems, including centralized kingdoms, chiefdoms, and decentralized societies, each with unique governance structures. Although many of these societies were predominantly patriarchal, women played crucial roles in leadership, diplomacy, and military affairs. The idea that women were entirely absent from political power in African history is a misconception largely shaped by colonial narratives. Historical records indicate that women not only held informal power as advisors, religious leaders, and queen mothers, but also exercised direct authority as reigning monarchs and military commanders. Political power of women in pre-colonial Africa by analyzing the leadership of notable female figures such as Queen Nzinga of Indongo and Matamba, Yasantua of the Asante Empire, Amina of Zazu, and Queen Mother Idia of the Benin Empire are explored. To begin with is the Queen Nzinga of Indongo and Matamba, who reigned from 1583 to 1663. According to Thornton 1991, Queen Nzinga of Indongo and Matamba in present-day Angola is one of the most remarkable female rulers in African history. She emerged as a formidable political and military leader in the early 17th century when the Portuguese were attempting to expand their influence in Central Africa. Initially, Nzinga served as an envoy for her brother, the King of Indongo, and negotiated diplomatic agreements with the Portuguese. Her intelligence, strategic thinking, and negotiation skills were evident in her ability to secure favorable treaties, despite the Portuguese's growing military presence. Following the death of her brother, Nzinga ascended to the throne, but her rule was contested by rival factions and the Portuguese, who sought to control Indongo. Demonstrating resilience and adaptability, she fled to the neighboring kingdom of Matamba, where she restructured its military forces and transformed it into a strong, politically influential state. Nzinga waged guerrilla warfare against the Portuguese, forging alliances with the Dutch and leveraging her knowledge of European and African dynamics to maintain independence. Her reign, which lasted over 4 decades, was marked by military innovation, strategic diplomacy, and economic restructuring. She established Matamba as a regional trade hub, ensuring its political stability. Nzinga's leadership challenges the notion that African women were excluded from governance, proving that they could exercise sovereign authority, engage in warfare, and shape the trajectory of their nations. Her legacy endures as a symbol of African resistance against European colonialism. Secondly, is Yasantua of the Asante Empire. The second to talk about is Yasantua of the Asante Empire, who reigned from 1840 to 1921. So according to Buahin 2003, Yasantua, who was the queen mother of Ejiso in the Asante Empire, which is present-day Ghana, is renowned for her role in leading the Asante resistance against British colonial rule. At the turn of the 20th century, the British had exiled the Asantehene, Prempeh I, and were seeking to seize the golden stool, which is the sacred symbol of the Asante unity and authority. When Asante leaders hesitated in responding to this threat, Yasantua famously declared that if the men were unwilling to fight, she and the women would do so themselves. Her speech galvanized resistance, leading to the War of the Golden Stool in 1900. Despite being a queen mother rather than a ruling monarch, Yasantua assumed command of the Asante forces, She mobilized warriors, particularly women, to fight against British troops, demonstrating her strategic military leadership. Under her command, Asante forces engaged in prolonged battles, using guerrilla tactics to defend their land and sacred traditions. Although the war ultimately ended in her capture and exile to the Seychelles, Yasantua's resistance remains a powerful example of female leadership in African political and military history. Her legacy continues to inspire Ghanaian national identity and serves as a reminder of women's capacity for leadership in times of political crisis. The third to talk about is Amina of Zazu, who reigned in the 16th century. According to Smith, 1971, Queen Amina of Zazu, which is present-day Zaria in Nigeria, was a warrior queen who ruled the Hausa state of Zaria in the 16th century. She is best remembered for her military campaigns, which expanded Zazu's territory and solidified its dominance in the region. Unlike many female rulers who gained power through regency or diplomatic maneuvering, Amina was an active military leader who personally led her armies into battle. Amina inherited the throne in an era when the Hausa city-states were engaged in territorial competition. She launched extensive military campaigns, expanding her kingdom's borders into parts of present-day Niger and Cameroon. Her reign contributed to the economic prosperity of Zazu by securing trade routes and fortifying cities with defensive walls, some of which are still known as Amina's walls today. Her leadership demonstrated that women in pre-colonial Africa were not confined to domestic roles, but could also be at the forefront of military and political affairs. Amina's legacy continues to challenge Western stereotypes about gender roles in African history. Last but not the least is Queen Mother Idia of the Benin Empire, who also ruled in the 16th century. According to Egaveba 1960, Queen Mother Idia was one of the most influential female figures in the history of the Benin Empire, modern-day Nigeria. She was the mother of Oba Isige and played a crucial role in his rise to power during the early 16th century. Idia was not just a maternal figure, she was a key political strategist and military leader. When Oba Isige faced internal power struggles and external threats, Idia commanded an army and used her influence to secure his position as king. She also played a role in statecraft and religious affairs, ensuring political stability in the kingdom. Due to her exceptional leadership, the institution of the Queen Mother was established, granting future Queen Mothers significant political and advisory roles in Benin's governance. Idia's legacy is immortalized in the famous ivory masks used in Benin's royal ceremonies. These masks, often seen in museums today, symbolize her enduring impact on the political and cultural history of Benin. We'll talk about the broader institutional roles of women in governance. Beyond individual female leaders, pre-colonial African societies had institutional structures that enabled women to exercise political power. In the Akan societies of Ghana, for instance, the Ohima was a key political figure who advised the king and sometimes served as a regent. Among the Yoruba of Nigeria, the Iyalode was a female leader responsible for representing women's interests in governance. Religious and military institutions also provided avenues for women's leadership. In the Dahomey Kingdom, which is present-day Benin, the minor warriors were an elite all-female military regiment, also played a crucial role in defending the state. These examples show that while direct female rulership was not always the norm. Women's political influence was embedded within governance structures. To conclude with, women in pre-colonial Africa were not passive participants in governance, but actively shaped political, military, and economic structures. Figures such as Queen Nzinga, Yasantua, Amina of Zazu, and Queen Mother Idia exemplify the significant leadership roles that women played. Their contributions challenged the misconception that African societies were universally patriarchal. Although colonialism disrupted many of these structures by imposing European patriarchal norms, the legacies of these female leaders continue to inspire discussions on gender and political agency in Africa today. Recognizing the historical power of women in governance is essential for understanding Africa's past and reshaping contemporary discussions on leadership and gender equality. Thank you.